All right. It is June 20th, 2010. I'm here on the western side of the United States at an elevation of about 460 feet. And I am not a ninja. I'll explain a little bit more of why I dress the way I dress. I want to welcome you to my site, Sierra Sasquatch. What you see here, down here, is one of the first prints that I picked up at one time. Notice the tightrope effect that you see on this as it walks along. Okay, a little bit about my background, Marine Corps background. I went to some jungle survival schools. This is the one in the Philippines, the College of Jungle Knowledge. Learn and return is the motto of those folks. Some operations I had done in Thailand, and some spy rigging. This is special patrol insertion extractions while I was training in the Marine Corps. And this is one of the sites after a mission. So I'm going to just try to run this really quick. This is a Harrier and landing in the Philippines. And I've also been up to the Aleutians doing operations up there in the Aleutian Islands. From the Aleutian Islands all the way down to Central America. This is an area in Central America where I was at. I also trained some of the Army personnel, the infantry aspects to medical personnel. And I also, in this area when I was in Central America, I did a peacekeeping type of medical help with these folks. Oops. This is a green moray reel that I did diving shows with and whatnot. Used to feed this guy. He's an 8-foot green moray over at the Texas State Aquarium. Little monkey business over in the Philippines. Little guy there. So I've been around primates in the wild, and I've also swam with sharks and fed them by hand. So I have a lot of different backgrounds, including firing different types of weapons. This is an anti-tank missile called a Dragon. So I went ahead and I brought my military background and my background in medicine, and I actually applied it in Central America. And I had done some tooth extractions and minor oral surgery, including doing blocks to take care of these folks that are unable to take care of themselves or they don't have the facilities to do so in some pretty remote areas. Didn't have water or electricity to say of. These are some of the bodyguards that I had while I was in this area. This is the moray again. His name's Leon, by the way. And also this little guy here. This is way back when. And this is at the Texas State Aquarium when I used to be a diver there. Okay, so I'm applying my background of the military sciences, and this is how I actually fund my research. This is actual surgical suite that we're working on. You can see it's equipment intensive, lots of material to use. And this is just one of the examples of what I was doing in some of these remote areas. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about my approach here. See if I get this out here. Okay, with approach, one of the first things that you need to, or that we need to understand is we need to fast. And when you fast, this is what brings on the awareness. Think about when you're really, really hungry, how does food smell? It seems like you can smell anything from anywhere. This is bringing out the awareness that's already within everybody here. It just takes learning how to bring it out of yourself. So with the ability to fast, it's going to get you set up for your awareness. So now your senses are keener. They call it their senses are being keener. I think of it more as your brain kind of filters things out that you no longer need, but when you need them again, it flicks it back on. That's why if you have a full belly, if you dip a duck in a boiling pot of water, it doesn't smell the same as if you hadn't eaten for about a week. So these are the things, and then your hearing gets better and things of this nature. Now we can talk about sound discipline. What I mean by sound discipline is, of course, being quiet, making sure you're packing your gear isn't or banging around and things of this nature. If you are with people, you don't sit and talk on the trail. You don't sit and talk in areas where you can echo. If you need to talk to somebody, you'd rather wait until you get near a stream. A stream is going to break up your voice. And so you have a better ability to talk, and it also gives you the ability to mask yourself. Animals in nature do this all the time. That's why a lot of times they like to be around falls and stuff, because then they can move around more freely without being detected. Light discipline. One thing I don't do is use a flashlight. I walk out into the darkness. I take a flashlight with me in case of an emergency, and I also take a little red one with me. But I normally don't use a light. You get your guy, once you're hungry and then you get your senses going, you start becoming more aware of what's happening, so you have a better look and a better perception in the dark. So that's what the light discipline is about. The movement discipline is not only how you move, but where you move. You don't want to stop and take a break in the middle of a field where everybody can see you. Whenever I take a break maybe next to a tree or in the shade. Now, why would I want to be in the shade? Look at the color I am. I'm all in black. And this is how I utilize shadows to help disguise myself in nature, so it gets me closer to other animals that I want to be around. So, and also the movement itself is where you're moving and how you're moving. If animals start alarming, you start learning how to pacify them in different ways. And the main key to that is patience. One thing in our society is that we are always on the go. We don't have time to wait. We take that same mentality into the field, and what happens is that things aren't happening fast enough for you, so you just continue to go instead of sitting back and let things take place. Let things flow as they normally do in nature. So if a bird starts squawking at you or whatever, they're signaling and letting everybody else in the animal kingdom know that you're there. So simply by stepping next to a tree, staying still 10, 15 minutes, and you'll see them start to look around for you and whatnot. But eventually the alarm will go off, they'll forget about you, and then you can proceed. And that's how you stay under the radar and out of the view of anything else. I also avoid humans in the wild or in the wilderness. I don't, because then you're just going to start talking again, and then you have more noise and everything else. And this is part of all these things of the awareness, the sound discipline, the light discipline, and the movement discipline. This is all how you blend into the environment, how you become part of the environment. And what I see a lot is people going out with big walkie-talkies that squawk and everything like this, and lights, flashlights, and banging, and this and the other thing, and you're very disruptive to the flow of nature. And by doing so, you alienate yourself. And then, some people wonder why they never see anything, why they never see a bobcat in the wild, why they never see a cougar in the wild. Things of this nature, why they've never seen, river otters. They're hard to come by to see unless you use the right technique. Now, when I'm in the field, I don't use guns. I personally do not believe in guns in this area, because the biggest thing you're going to have to deal with, well, actually in the Sierras, are black bears and cougars. They're going to be your two biggest problems. And those normally, I've bumped into cougars before, or mountain lions, and they just were more curious and they just went away. Black bears are pretty much the same way. If you don't have food with you, they're not interested in you. And that's the other thing, is I don't carry much food with me at all, and I have a way of disguising my food. Any food that I do take with me, I have a way of disguising it so that there's no scent involved with it. The no wood knocking. Ron's talked about this before and everything, and you really don't know what you're saying to them. And the way that it seems is they don't like it. When they throw a rock, that doesn't sound like a friendly gesture. So I don't do wood knocking because I don't know what I'm saying to them. I've never had rocks thrown at me, so it sounds like it's a good thing.